Your baby is staring at the screen. Their eyes are locked on. They're not blinking. They're not moving. They look calm, even happy. But inside their brain, something alarming is happening. Neural pathways that should be forming through real-world interaction are being hijacked by flashing colors, rapid cuts, and overstimulating sounds. And the worst part? You had no idea. You thought you were giving your child something educational, something harmless. But what if I told you that certain everyday habits, things most parents do without a second thought, are actually slowing down or even damaging your baby's brain development? I'm not talking about neglect or abuse. I'm talking about well-meaning choices that seem innocent but have consequences you can't see. Things like the shows they watch, the toys they play with, the way we interact with them or don't interact with them. These small decisions add up, and they shape the architecture of your child's developing brain in ways that will follow them for life. Here's the truth that nobody wants to hear. Your baby's brain is forming over 1 million neural connections every single second during the first 3 years of life. 1 million per second. That's not an exaggeration. That's neuroscience. And every single experience your baby has during this critical window either strengthens those connections or weakens them. There's no neutral ground. Every moment is either building their brain or undermining it. And right now, in millions of homes across the world, babies are being exposed to something that looks educational but is actually engineered to overstimulate, to hook attention, to create dependency. I'm talking about the screens, the tablets, the phones, the TVs playing shows that move too fast, sound too loud, and overwhelm the developing sensory systems of babies who were never designed to process that level of intensity. Shows like Cocomelon, the hyperspeed versions of Baby Shark, programs like Blippi, even Paw Patrol for the youngest viewers. These aren't just cartoons. They're dopamine delivery systems. They're designed to capture and hold attention at all costs, and they do it by bombarding your baby's brain with stimulation that's far beyond what nature intended. The colors flash, the music blares, the scenes change every 1 to 3 seconds, and your baby's brain, still forming, still fragile, is trying desperately to keep up. But it can't. So instead, it adapts. It rewires itself to crave that level of stimulation. And suddenly, real life, the stuff that actually builds intelligence, language, emotional regulation, and creativity, suddenly that feels boring. The blocks on the floor? Boring. Your voice reading a story? Boring. Playing peekaboo? Boring. Because the brain has been trained to expect fireworks, and anything less doesn't register anymore. If you've noticed your baby crying when the screen turns off, if they seem irritable or restless without it, if they can't focus on simple toys or seem constantly overstimulated, these aren't personality traits. These are symptoms of a brain that's been overstimulated and is now struggling to regulate itself. And before we go any further, I want to be crystal clear. This video is not here to shame you. If your baby watches these shows, you're not a bad parent. You didn't know. Most parents don't. These programs are marketed as educational, as beneficial, as safe. But the research tells a very different story. And now that you're here, now that you're watching this, you have the knowledge to make a different choice, and that's powerful. So if this resonates with you, if you want to protect your baby's developing brain and give them the best possible start in life, do me a favor right now. Hit that like button, subscribe to the Parenting Blueprint, and drop a comment telling me which show your baby watches most. Your comment might just be the wake-up call another parent desperately needs to see. This information is too important to keep to ourselves. Every parent deserves to know the truth about what these screens are doing to their child's future. Let's dive in. Let's talk about what's actually happening inside your baby's brain when they watch these overstimulating programs. Because once you understand the science, you'll never look at screen time the same way again. A baby's brain is not a miniature adult brain. It's fundamentally different. It's under construction, and the blueprint for that construction comes from the environment, from what the baby sees, hears, touches, and experiences. The brain is expecting certain inputs. It's expecting faces, especially your face. It's expecting voices, especially your voice. It's expecting movement at a natural pace. It's expecting textures, temperatures, the feeling of being held. It's expecting the real world. What it's not expecting is a screen that changes scenes every 2 seconds with colors that don't exist in nature and sounds that are artificially amplified and movements that are impossibly fast. When a baby watches something like Cocomelon, their brain is trying to process an assault of information that's coming in faster than their neural pathways can handle. The visual cortex is overwhelmed. The auditory system is overloaded. And because babies can't look away, because they don't have the executive function to self-regulate yet, they just sit there and take it in. And here's where it gets really concerning. That overstimulation triggers a massive release of dopamine. Dopamine is the brain's reward chemical. It's what makes things feel good, feel exciting, feel worth paying attention to. In normal life, dopamine gets released when your baby sees your smile, when they successfully stack a block, when they taste something sweet. It's a natural, healthy reward system that guides learning. But these fast-paced shows hijack that system. They flood the brain with dopamine at levels that natural experiences can't match. It's the same mechanism behind addiction. The brain gets a hit of pleasure that's so intense, so immediate, that everything else pales in comparison. And just like any addiction, tolerance builds. The baby needs more and more stimulation to get the same dopamine response. Regular toys, normal play, real-world interaction. These things no longer trigger enough dopamine to feel rewarding. So the baby becomes fussy, frustrated, and difficult to engage unless the screen is on. This isn't about your baby being difficult. This is about brain chemistry. You've unknowingly conditioned their reward system to expect artificial levels of stimulation. And the consequences show up in multiple areas of development. First, attention. Babies who watch fast-paced programs develop shorter attention spans. This seems counterintuitive because they can watch the screen for long periods. But that's not real attention. That's being captured. Real attention, the kind that builds focus and learning, requires the ability to sustain interest in something even when it's not constantly changing. When a baby's brain is trained on rapid scene changes, they lose the ability to focus on anything that moves at a normal pace. This affects their ability to listen to stories, to engage with puzzles, to learn in school years later. Second, language development. This one surprises parents the most. You'd think that shows with lots of talking would help language development, but they don't. Language is learned through interaction, through back and forth, through what researchers call serve and return. You say something, the baby responds, you respond back. That's how the brain builds language circuits. Watching someone talk on a screen is one-way communication. There's no interaction. The baby's brain is passive, and passive exposure does almost nothing for language development compared to a real conversation, even if that conversation is just you narrating what you're doing while you fold laundry. Third, emotional regulation. Overstimulating shows create emotional chaos in a baby's brain. The dopamine spikes, then crashes. The nervous system gets ramped up, then struggles to calm down. Over time, this makes it harder for babies to regulate their emotions naturally. They become more irritable, more prone to meltdowns, more dependent on external stimulation to feel okay. They haven't developed the internal skills to soothe themselves because their nervous system has been yo-yoing between extreme stimulation and the absence of it. Fourth, sleep. So many parents don't realize that the screen time during the day is affecting nighttime sleep. An overstimulated brain doesn't just calm down the moment the screen turns off. It stays activated. The neural pathways are still firing. The nervous system is still heightened. And when bedtime comes, that baby's brain is not ready to sleep. It's still looking for stimulation. This leads to bedtime battles, night wakings, and overall poor sleep quality, which then affects everything else: mood, learning, growth, immune function. And finally, creativity and play. Overstimulated babies lose interest in open-ended play. Building blocks, pretend play, exploring objects. These activities require the brain to generate its own entertainment, its own narrative, its own engagement. But when the brain is used to being entertained by external, high-intensity input, it doesn't know how to do that anymore. the child becomes passive, waiting for something exciting to happen to them rather than creating excitement themselves. Now let's talk about the specific shows that are the worst offenders, so you know exactly what to avoid. I'm not saying this to judge parents who use these shows. I'm saying it because the research is clear and you deserve to know the truth. Cocomelon is at the top of the list. Multiple child development experts have analyzed this show and found it to be one of the most overstimulating programs available for babies. The scene changes happen every 1 to 2 seconds. That's faster than most action movies made for adults. The colors are hypersaturated. The movements are exaggerated to an unnatural degree. The music is loud and repetitive. Every element is designed to grip attention, not to educate. And babies who watch Cocomelon regularly show signs that concern pediatricians and child psychologists. Difficulty transitioning away from screens, reduced interest in real-world play, shorter attention spans, and increased irritability. Baby Shark, particularly the modern fast-paced versions, creates similar problems. The original slow nursery rhyme was fine, but the commercialized versions have been sped up, amplified, and filled with flashing visuals that overwhelm a baby's sensory system. Parents report that after watching Baby Shark, their babies have trouble calming down, struggle with sleep, and show hyperactive behaviors. This isn't because the song itself is harmful. It's because the delivery system, the speed, the intensity, the visual chaos is too much for a developing brain. Blippi is another program parents think is educational but is actually problematic for babies. The host moves constantly, talks rapidly, jumps from activity to activity with no transition time, and creates an environment of constant high energy. For an older preschooler who can process that pace, it might be okay. But for babies and young toddlers, it teaches the brain to expect non-stop excitement. When real life doesn't provide that, frustration and dysregulation follow. Even shows like Paw Patrol, which are marketed to preschoolers, are too intense for babies. The action sequences, the dramatic music, the fast camera movements, the tension and resolution cycles, these are all beyond what a baby's brain is ready to process. Babies don't have the cognitive ability to understand narrative structure or emotional arcs. They just experience the stimulation, and it overwhelms them. Here's what I want you to understand. These shows were not created with your baby's brain development in mind. They were created to maximize watch time, to keep eyes on screens, to generate revenue through advertising and merchandise. The faster the pace, the more addictive the content, the longer babies watch. It's a business model, not an educational philosophy. Your baby doesn't need these shows. In fact, your baby is better off without them. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends no screen time at all for children under 18 months, except for video chatting. And for children 18 months to 2 years, if you do use screens, it should be high-quality, slow-paced programming watched together with a parent who talks about what's happening. The key word is together. Co-viewing turns passive consumption into interactive learning. But the truth is, even high-quality screen time can't compete with real-world experiences for brain development. Nothing on a screen will ever be as valuable as your face, your voice, your presence. So what do you do if your baby is already hooked on these overstimulating shows? How do you fix this without causing complete chaos in your home? The good news is that the brain is incredibly adaptable, especially in these early years. You can reverse the effects of overstimulation with the right approach. First, don't go cold turkey unless you absolutely have to. Cutting screens completely and immediately can cause major meltdowns because your baby's brain is experiencing something similar to withdrawal. Instead, start by reducing gradually. If your baby watches an hour a day, cut it to 45 minutes for a few days, then 30, then 15. Slow transitions are easier on everyone. Second, replace overstimulating shows with calmer alternatives. Not all screen content is equally harmful. Shows like Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, Bluey, and classic Sesame Street move at a much slower pace. They have longer scenes, gentler music, and actual educational content about emotions and social skills. If you must use screens during the transition period, Use these instead. Third, and this is the most important part, fill the space with real-world activities. Your baby will resist at first because their brain is conditioned to expect high stimulation. But you need to persist. Offer simple toys, stacking cups, wooden blocks, balls, texture boards. Take them outside. Nature is one of the fastest ways to reset an overstimulated nervous system. The natural movements of trees, the sounds of birds, the feeling of grass. These provide rich sensory input without overstimulation. Read to your baby every single day. Reading is one of the strongest predictors of language development and school readiness. It doesn't matter if they seem distracted at first. Keep reading. Their attention will improve as their brain recalibrates. Sing slow songs and nursery rhymes. The rhythm and repetition are soothing and support language development in ways that screens never can. Encourage independent play, even if it's just for 5 minutes at first. Put your baby in a safe space with a few toys and let them explore without intervention. This builds confidence, creativity, problem-solving, and attention span. It feels uncomfortable for parents who are used to entertaining their child constantly, but it's essential for development. Create predictable routines. Babies feel secure when they know what's coming next. Wake up, breakfast, playtime, walk, lunch, nap. The predictability calms the nervous system and reduces the need for external stimulation to feel okay. And perhaps most importantly, increase connection time. Overstimulated babies are often underconnected babies. They've been getting their dopamine from screens instead of from you. Snuggle more, make eye contact, play peekaboo, sing together. Have conversations, even if your baby can't talk yet. Narrate your day. These interactions build the neural pathways that screens can never touch. Within 2 to 3 weeks of making these changes, most parents report dramatic improvements. Better sleep, longer attention spans, calmer behavior, more interest in toys, fewer tantrums, and genuine joy during playtime. These aren't coincidences. This is the brain healing. This is your baby getting what they actually needed all along. Let's bring this all together with the truth that every parent needs to hear. Your baby's brain is not designed for screens. It's designed for you, for your face, your voice, your touch, your presence. Every moment you spend truly connecting with your baby is building their intelligence, their emotional strength, their capacity for focus and learning. And every moment spent in front of an overstimulating screen is a missed opportunity for that real connection. I know parenting is exhausting. I know you need breaks. I know that sometimes putting on a show feels like the only way to get through the day. And I'm not here to tell you that you're a bad parent for needing help. But I am here to tell you that there are better ways to get that help than handing your baby a screen. Baby wearing while you do chores, setting up a safe play space where they can explore independently, asking for support from family or friends, trading babysitting with other parents. These solutions require more effort up front, but they don't come with the developmental costs that screens do. Here's what I want you to remember. Overstimulating content was never designed to help your child. It was designed to capture attention and generate profit. The flashing lights, the rapid cuts, the loud music, none of that is educational. It's manipulation. And your baby, with their beautiful, developing, vulnerable brain, deserves better than that. You are the real educational content. Your patience when they're learning to stack blocks. Your encouragement when they're trying to crawl. Your voice reading the same book for the 100th time. Your smile when they look up at you. These are the experiences that wire the brain for success, for emotional health, for intelligence and creativity, not a cartoon character on a screen. So starting today, make a commitment. Reduce the screens, increase the presence. Choose real play over digital entertainment. Choose your voice over animated songs. Choose connection over convenience. It won't always be easy, especially in the beginning. But within weeks, you'll see a different child emerge. Calmer, more focused, more creative, more joyful. That's not magic. That's simply your baby's brain finally getting what it needed all along. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. What overstimulating shows has your baby been watching? Have you noticed signs of overstimulation, like trouble focusing, irritability, or difficulty calming down? Share your experience in the comments below, because your story might be exactly what another parent needs to hear. And if this video opened your eyes to something you didn't know before, please hit that like button and subscribe to the Parenting Blueprint. Share this with every parent you know, because this information can literally change the trajectory of a child's development. Remember, you're not just raising a baby, you're building a brain. And now you know how to do it right. Protect their development, prioritize real connection, and watch your baby thrive. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next video.